Well, housing affordability is top of mind for many voters as Ontario heads to the polls this Thursday. And a brand new survey from Angus Reid and online real estate brokerage Zown found that over half of Ontarians say the current cost of living has altered their plans to buy a home.
In fact, high living expenses are the biggest barrier to saving for a down payment. Joining us live to talk more about this is Rishard Rameez, CEO of Zown. Rishard, good to meet you this morning, and thanks for coming in here.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Interesting to see these poll results here because it seems home ownership is still very much a goal for a lot of people. But what you've also found here is a lot of people realize are surprised to find the unexpected expenses connected to home ownership. Can you talk a bit about where you were going with that with your company then?
Yeah, absolutely. I think many home buyers think it's just a down payment that you need to buy a home. But then when you truly get into the process of owning a home, you realize there's so much else that's also involved in buying a home. So over 60% of Canadians are surprised when they go into buying a home. There's closing costs, which is land transfer tax, especially if you're buying in Toronto, it's almost twice. You have your lawyer's fees, you have your title insurance, that's also super expensive. So now all of a sudden, saving for a down payment in itself is hard. Now you also need to come up with that extra 2%, 1.5% that goes towards your closing costs. That's where Zown comes in. We truly built a platform where we can help people save money during the transaction by building a one-stop solution, by helping them with securing a mortgage, helping them find properties, put offers, and close. So by doing this, we are able to save all these commissions that usually gets paid in the transaction. We give that as upfront cash to help people almost save all of the money that goes towards the closing costs.
That sounds pretty helpful and pretty good. The analogy that I like to think of is like, okay, you're eating a meal at a restaurant and all of a sudden there's all these like hidden charges and tips that you didn't know were there that you have to pay for. And you say that about 36% of, Canadians are kind of illiterate when it comes to the process or the resources available to even purchasing a home. So what are some of those resources aside from a company like yours that they can explore?
Absolutely. I think as first-time home buyers, I think a lot of people don't know some of these resources that are available, such as the rebates that you get from the provincial government in terms of the land transfer tax, in terms of the property taxes. Again, there's also, there's certain municipalities also provide down payment assistance. There's cash back that you can get from your realtor that you work with that can go towards your closing costs. Again, I think being aware of all these options truly help you sort of bring down the cost associated with buying a home. There's also the RRSPs, the TFSAs, the home buy plans. These are places where you can really put your money and sort of take advantage of some of these tax savings that can truly go into buying a home, right?
It sounds to me like you're saying basically, Rishard, people are leaving money on the table, money that they could tap into.
The money that they could tap into. The money that they could tap into. I think as first-time home buyers, I think I was a first-time home buyer a few years ago, and we started Zown to truly solve this problem of helping someone truly understand what are all my available options when it comes to buying a home. So that way you're not leaving money on the table. We all know buying a home is hard. We all want to call this place our home. And we want to help take advantage of every single option that's on the table. So you're not leaving money on the table. This is money that can go towards helping your family buy furniture, helping your family even buy a bigger home.
Yeah, exactly. I just wish it was like the old days when you had a cow and some beans and you could buy a little property and set up. But obviously,
moved on a little,
that's not the case. So what's your advice for anyone looking to save up to buy a home? I know that first-time home buyers, they have that longer amortization period, which helps them. But what are kind of your top tips for someone looking to get into the market, but maybe they're a little bit unsure right now with all the uncertainty with the U.S. and the tariffs?
Absolutely. I think the most important thing when it comes to buying a home, as much as you can predict the market and try to time is, there's no best time other than when it is best for you. That's the biggest piece of advice that I can tell Canadians who are looking to buy a home. Always plan for the worst case scenario. If, again, we are right now in an economy where it's very volatile. So you need to be able to plan for the worst case scenario. Now, that way, even if the worst case happens, you already planned for that. So always don't max out your affordability. Don't use all your savings to buy a home. Look at other options that are out there. Look at companies that are like Zown that are actually helping people get into home ownership. So you don't have to max out your savings. So that is where I would go. Make sure that you don't max out your savings. the best time to buy a home is when it is best for you.
And like you said,
Good
according
advice.
to the polling that you've committed with Angus Reid, people have that dream and that goal in there. Rishard, appreciate the time this morning.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for your
Thank you so much
insight.
for having me.
Thank you. Take
All right,
care.
and